Hello, everyone. Welcome to Osquery office hours. It is the end of August. At least here in Boston, it's quite warm. And school's starting for anyone who's got kids. But welcome, everyone. Let's see. Announcements and highlights since the last meeting. I think it's been since the last meeting, but we cut the 5.5.1 release. So that's exciting. I think that's the only announcement I've got. Anyone else? Okay. Next section is kind of an open questions, issues, PRs people want to discuss. The intent here is to provide somewhere for anyone dropping into the meeting to have somewhere where they can ask questions. It looks like a pretty familiar set of faces, but I'll pause a moment in case anyone wants to raise anything. Okay, moving on then. Wait. Okay, Mike, you threw something in there. You asked about a PR. We can probably look at this PR again. I don't remember the state of it. So down in agenda land, I noted that we cut 551, and I think we can push it to stable. I've had it running inside Collide's test fleet. I think Fleet has had it running inside Fleet's test fleet. I haven't heard any problems, so I think it probably gets to be stable. Any objections?
Works for me.
Okay, I'll try and declare it stable after the meeting. Mike, you were suggesting we clean up some old packaging related things. I am down for, I'm sort of looking at these one at a time. I'm basically down for closing all of these, I think.
They could remain open, like many things are in the backlog. Just they are not.
I don't think there's value in having. So if the first three of them are package build related. I don't think there's value in having them open in the backlog if we are not actively working on them or planning on working them. I created several of these, and we have just been dragging them forward forever. So I vote we just close them. If we need to reopen them, we can always reopen them or find them or re-implement them or something.
Yeah, I agree too. Like one of them was when we moved the packaging and put signing to the new certs and everything. Things were a little bit wonky, and I think it's been pretty stable since. So we can close it, and it'll still be there in the search. So
yeah, different people have different views about bugs and whether it's worth keeping things that are not being actively developed in the backlog or not. I aspire to closing them because otherwise they're just noise, but I don't often live up to that aspiration.
Okay, well, I'm going to remove the high priority and the milestone. And
I've already closed the first three.
Okay, from the first. Okay. Do you want to add like a will not fix or anything like that?
My comment was we're clearly not working on this. Close them.
Okay, it's comment there. Okay.
If someone is excited and is like, oh yeah, I want to fix this, it's like we're not going to say no. But the fourth one you suggested is about P-tree-based JSON parsing. I don't know enough to have an opinion here.
It looks like we had a discussion that sort of went off. I mean, it was, there are comments there, and I don't know if we reached a consensus. Seemed like we did.
wasn't there one issue with rapid JSON that was preventing it? I think I don't remember, but there's thing in particular related to parsing?
I would be fine to just close this on the same theory. This seems like kind of a aspirational. It would be nice if we did more things in rapid JSON bug, and we have 500 issues. This one doesn't feel like it's adding anything to the table.
The only thing I can say, the only two differences between the two is that, well, P3 is slower but has a nicer interface that lets you access things like with paths, basically. So it's like a tree. With rapid JSON, you have to instead take each piece and each nested level, check everything, which is, I mean, the correct thing to do, but it's a bit slightly more verbose, probably a bit faster, but it has a couple of hidden issues around, well, issues if you don't know how to do it, around how the memory gets allocated and passed between documents or objects, etc. So, but
I don't feel like there's a point to keeping this issue open.
Yeah.
Like, is anyone here excited to work on this?
It sounds like it was performance related, and I know that we've had a lot of performance related efforts. So do we agree that that's worth coming back to?
I mean, I think what that misses is the points where the performance is a problem. Like, I know that our like JSON pass, the JSON passing or serialization, for instance, of some queries that run quite a lot or have a lot of data in it is definitely performance sensitive due to JSON being all strings and requiring allocations, etc. But yeah, I don't have other specific data, and we already do serialization with rapid JSON anyway. So I'm not sure where P3 is used right now. That is a performance issue.
This was particularly talking about the Firefox add-ons table. I just, unless someone's stepping up to do this work right now, it just doesn't seem worth it, right? If at some point y'all analyze and you're like, okay, we're going to rewrite the Firefox add-ons table, you don't need this bug to remind you of this.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, so the Firefox add-on, like, it doesn't have that many entries. It's not, I don't see it like a table being queried that many times. But and at the same time, the only reason I could see is that maybe Boost using templates in many cases creates more code and so also lower compilation time. So it's not performance of runtime, more performance of compilation time. And so using less of Boost just for that would be maybe interesting. But yeah, I don't see any other compelling reason for performance in runtime.
I closed the issue since it's not a compelling performance argument, and it sounds like dependency removal would have been a valid reason to do it, but we can't. So closed.
Thanks. I'm trying to be better about closing stuff. Glancing at our next milestone.
We have another to add to the agenda. It's related to Artemis and the container work. I wanted to know if this issue is still going to be open.
I'm going to defer to y'all.
Artemis here?
She was.
Yeah, I'm here. Which issue again?
Oh, just a minute. I'll copy it out of the agenda.
5725.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lib resource doesn't seem to be updated in like 3 to 7 years. The library that she mentioned.
Okay. Oh yeah, I have not seen this. That could be useful, but is it still maintained? Lib resource looks like it's basically abandoned. Hasn't had any changes since 2019. And there have been changes to C group since then. I think PID with namespace has done a lot of the stuff we need, but not all of it. I'm currently working more with Containerd, but I could also look into that. I'd probably end up just doing things directly, though.
I think we can close the issue.
I'm going to say, like, so this looks like a suggestion from someone to implement some of the PID with namespace and some of the functionality that Artemis is looking at. And if you don't find this suggestion useful, then there is no point to this issue.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I can close it then.
I'll just close it.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah.
Speaking of the work Artemis is doing, there was a sort of sprawling conversation on Slack, I think, about sort of bringing in big gnarly dependencies. Did we land anywhere on that?
What I got was that Stefano, I think, had already implemented this in a commit that was never merged a while ago, and I have ported that forwards. And I have a draft PR of it, but it still needs, I think, a lot of cleanup, just because of how Osquery has changed and such, and some licensing issues. It does pull in gRPC, which is a big gnarly dependency, but it does seem to work.
Yep. I'm not sure there's a good alternative.
Yeah, there's extensions, there's a few other things, but like all of those are going to require a bunch of work, and if we use an extension, we end up we just push things into orbit, and then that doesn't help everyone.
Yeah.
The other thing I wonder is if gRPC is still doing the correct thing if we can control its build system correctly. Because currently we are using its build system, while for all the other libraries we have rewritten the build system so that we can control what it does, what it for backward compatibility with the other distributions, older distributions. So I think that, like, from a technical standpoint, that is my first concern.
Yeah, I mean, it is CMake at least, which does help a bit, but
yeah.
I believe it is going to pull in a couple of things automatically with external projects.
Yeah,
I believe that was just a draft, and we wanted to convert it completely.
So the only other sort of crazy theories we had was what would it be like to find ways of hot linking to Go or Rust or something? And that's a real interesting question that is a lot of unexplored ground.
Yeah, they both have very different ways of dealing with memory. Go wants people to run a GC often. Rust needs to know at compile time when memory is going to stop being available for it.
Yeah. Because I note that Containerd doesn't actually appear to use gRPC. It uses tRPC, which is their fork of gRPC.
Wait, what?
But they only distribute Go and Rust libraries for tRPC.
What? The standard gRPC library in Alessandro's commit did seem to work.
So I think it works, but TRPC is like a low memory
Oh yeah.
gRPC compatible thing. So
Okay, so it looks like it does not pull in HTTP and TLS.
but it's not going to help us because they don't distribute a C version.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's been my view.
Wait.
Okay. But it sounds like you're fighting with dependencies, and we don't have a better answer yet.
Yeah, I mean it works, but it's a draft.
Well, I'll ultimately just defer to Alessandro and Stefano on CMake dependency things. So
Yeah,
about dependencies, if we end up converting them all, I believe it can also cover everything we need for Facebook Thrift. So the switch would be easy in the future if we want to move away from the current one.
Is Facebook Thrift any more maintained than Apache Thrift?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like...
I think they pretty much abandoned the one that they gave to Apache.
So when I worked for a large tech company several years ago, we had our own internal fork of Thrift because Facebook's one was buggy as hell.
What do you mean by convert? I kind of assumed you meant like dealing with like adding the transitive dependencies as submodules and then like adding that, or do you just mean make everything use CMake?
We usually rewrite the entire dependency tree in CMake from scratch, and that is to pin down what kind of settings they try to detect from the machine at compile time.
That makes sense.
I think it's a similar in approach to what Nix is doing, but we do it at the build system level.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, there are some things that are hard to guard against, like for example what kind of features the build system is going to detect based on the hardware, like instruction sets. And that is also another thing that we usually lock in the configuration that we bake when we convert the library.
Okay, that makes sense.
And concerning what Seth mentioned, it would be really nice to have Rust and Go support in there, but I suspect that they have some priority in getting containerd up and running. So maybe it is something that we can merge the pull request, but in the meantime, for the future, then take a look at Go and Rust.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the currently this requires another option to enable it, so you need to both enable events and enable containerd events. I'm not sure how that maps to what we're doing with other evented tables.
You mean, so normally the flags we have, well, not all of them, but we have 3 flags normally. There is the global disable events flag for Osquery that just permits any evented publisher to be enabled. Then you have the specific flag for the publisher to be enabled, so that the publisher can start collecting events and publishing them. Then we have the third flag, which is for the subscriber, so the tables, so that you activate the tables.
That makes sense.
I don't recall if we have both the publisher and subscriber flags from
Okay.
that container the events.
Yeah, this
think
has
so,
a
maybe.
publisher flag, but I don't think it has subscriber flags.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Well, normally the subscriber flags comes out when you have a single publisher and multiple subscribers, so that you can choose which table to enable. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily need it right now. Yeah.
Okay. Artemis, you're not blocked on anything then, right?
No.
Okay. It's just kind of a horrible slog.
Yeah.
Okay.
That, and I got a bit distracted by some other issues that were sent to me, but yeah, it's just figuring out how the build system works, because I haven't dealt with it in a while.
Mike, you flagged one other issue here for discussion, which is the Mac OS CI build job to use Monterey.
Yeah, there's Stefano was alluding to some steps, but I wanted to add them to the issue so I can understand where we need to go next. Do you recall, Stefano?
So I was distracted for half a second. I lost what
So
the subject. So
the
Issue 7702.
yeah, you opened it. It's to update Mac OS CI to use Monterey, and I know that you did start on that, and I think you stubbed it out and disabled it. Is that right? But
well, yeah, this was just a was just a follow-up issue to keep track of the fact that we want to update the build to Monterey, because GitHub was disabling the Big Sur machines, and we had two jobs for macOS. One is the building one, and the other one is the one running tests. Actually, there are three. There's also the packaging, but anyway. And I said Big Sur, and sorry, I meant Catalina. So Catalina was the one being deprecated, and had build, test, package. So what I did was to disable the test one, since we had to anyway test the Big Sur one together with Catalina, and we were already building from Big Sur. But now we want to, we always want to test everything we can, at least like the newest one and the oldest one. So ideally, we move the build job to the Monterey one, since we are actually using Monterey anyway for developer machines, and re-enable the test job with Big Sur.
packaging workflow can stay the same.
Sorry?
But what about the packaging workflow or the packaging job?
The packaging job, I think already uses the Big Sur one, if I recall right. Let me see. Yeah, this file is getting big. Build, yeah, we are already using Big Sur there. I mean, we can update that to Monterey if we want. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just leave these
So
as a list on the issue. So I just updated the issue.
Yeah.
All right. I'm good, Seth.
Those were our agenda items. I don't know if people have other things they'd like to discuss or are curious about.
Anyone tested Osquery with Ventura?
Yes.
Anyone? any first observations?
So I installed the Collide agent onto a Ventura VM, and it worked. So I don't know. I have a handful of warnings from an alum that a variety of things inside Ventura may have changed. So things around like launch D
And network
stuff
locations, yeah.
Yeah, and he was coming at this from the perspective of the Collide packaging, so the launcher packaging might be out of date. Didn't have any problems, but the launcher is surprisingly simple. And I suspect this is also true for Osquery, and I make no claims about Orbit. So there may be things that change in how packaging works and how sort of bundle identifiers work and auto update functionality works and all of that stuff. It's kind of like go forth and test your code. But I assume y'all also have access to the betas. And yeah, like no, I didn't run any real extensive tests. I didn't like go and see if the battery table works or anything like that. I don't think I have a battery table in my virtual machine. But at least at 10,000 feet, the VM kind of worked the way I expect. Anyone else play with Ventura yet?
I just can't get networking to work.
Like at all?
Like in a VM. So
what are you running as a VM server?
Like UTM, which is a
yeah, that's what I use.
QEMU front end, because yeah, faking like a VMware hypervisor with the there's some hacks where you can like change the board configuration, doesn't work.
No, I used just UTM as well, and didn't have any trouble. So yeah, I have that striped T-shirt. Yeah, I don't know. Sort of different conversation, maybe, if no one's got anything else on Ventura. One of the things I've been finding myself thinking about is how to add something like decorators to distributed queries. I keep kind of wanting decorators on my distributed queries, and I don't know what that looks like yet. So I don't know if other people have any thoughts about that or not. But it's a thing I've started thinking about.
We added deny listing to distributed queries, and I think the next step would be like maybe adding performance metrics.
Would be good too. The thing I'm thinking about around decorators is right. So when you get results in, if you get the results for scheduled queries, you have a decorator pack, which means you can kind of hang whatever information you want there. You don't get that for a distributed query, and I don't know the history. It might just be that, well, you can put whatever you want in a decorator in your distributed query, but that's kind of ugly. So I don't know. I'm just kind of chewing on that and thinking a little bit about.
It could be as simple as combining two queries into one, into the results.
I can rewrite the SQL
response.
if I need to, but I just feel like there's, one of the things that's just kind of weird about Osquery is a lot of the TLS API feels ill-designed and just inconsistent, right? Like, and you see this too in like the configuration, right? There's like distributed queries and scheduled queries, and they have like slightly overlapping sets of options and packs and configurations, and they return data, and the data looks a little different. And there's just like a lot of weird variation. And every now and again, I think about what it would be like if we added consistency and like schemas to everything. And that just sounds like a lot of work. But anyhow, that's the thing I think would be cool.
Maybe I can mention again that I'm week by week working on creating a script and set of logics to download and keep track of Osquery third-party library CVs. So that was the issue I had already opened. I actually had an update a week ago, I don't recall. Yeah, slightly more than a week ago. I created a temporary copy of Osquery just to demonstrate that the script was downloading CVs and was creating issues out of it, and also, well, not recreating them if they were already open. And eventually, I think that, yeah, if you already want to have a look, obviously, please go ahead. It's not finished. I have missed one of the libraries in there, which also particularly doesn't have any versions. So yeah, there are some niceties around getting like the correct version from a date from the NIST database. But anyway, so right now I'm working on the sort of the last part I wanted to work, which is the check that the manifest is kind of up to date with the third-party libraries we have. It's mainly a commit SHA check. And yeah, again, when I finish that, I'll open a PR, and that repository will be there for anyone to review and to make changes and see how the script does things differently, etc. before merging eventually, hopefully, in Osquery.
Sounds like cool work.
Yeah. This is maybe in there was a there was a request around if it's possible to get an API key from the NIST database website. So the API key is free. It is mainly needed to be able to do requests
I'll try
more
and
often.
fill that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I can try and do that.
Okay.
Oh, cool. So this looks pretty cool. I'll try and look at it. I imagine it has a lot of moving parts. So I'm not totally sure what the right way to jump into it is.
So
maybe just start with this rudder and work my way down.
So yeah, right now, being it a copy, an entire copy, not requests. So the scripts are under tools, CI, scripts, CV. And then you have the manifest, which is under the libraries folder. And that's it. Like, well, there is also a new workflow, named CV.
Yep. So what generates that manifest?
It's by hand right now, because yeah, as explained in the issue. So why we can really maybe generate the commit for the libraries, the names like taken from the folder, but that's kind of it. Because even if we go to the GitHub repository, each of those libraries has a different way of reporting the version, which doesn't match with what the NIST database has. So you still have to convert those manually, and not all of them have versionals, etc. So. But cool. as I was saying, there is at least a couple of checks, like format validation and checking that the commit that is in there is up to date with the commit of the submodule. It won't yeah, it won't be able to check the version, but ideally on a review, what will happen is that if someone updates the library, the commit will be out of date, and then the reviewer should ensure that both the commit and version is updated together.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's for now. That's what I have found as a way to implement this check.
That seems reasonable. I mean, it seems like the best we can do.
Hmm.
So, cool. Anyone want to talk about anything else? If not, it's 2 p.m. So maybe we call it. Okay. Well, pleasure seeing everyone, and thank you all for your commits, hard work, review, everything else. And I will see you in 2 weeks.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.
Okay.